Hey guys, it's Wacky Universe here, taking over for American Eye today. From unbelievable Viking artifacts found to notable Inca civilization tombs discovered in South America, here are the most incredible tomb discoveries around the world. 10. Paphos Tombs of the Kings. Don't let the name fool you here. This ancient necropolis located in Cyprus, just west of the Paphos harbor, contains no bodies of kings, only aristocrats and high officials from the 4th century BC to the 3rd century AD. The crypts are made of carved stone and somewhat imitated the houses at the time. These designs were often created from impressive underground-style crypts with pillars that were influenced by Macedonian and Roman architecture during the Hellenistic period. Archaeologists uncovered 3 unrobbed tombs at this location, which contain golden wreaths, and an impressive piece of pottery known as Rhodian amphora. 9. Cahokia Mounds. The Cahokia Mounds historic site is a large pre-Columbian Native American settlement located near the Mississippi River by St. Louis, Missouri. This sacred land contains 80 earth mounds built by the ancient Mississippians. This one you see here is called Monk's Mound, and it's the largest structure at Cahokia, and the home of the chief was built on top. A barricade was built around the city center, and the higher class citizens would live on the inside, separating the lower class. One of the more mysterious tombs is the one known as Mound 72, which contains 4 young males who are missing their hands and skulls. But that's not all. It also contains the remains of more than 50 women who were in their early 20s, and another 40 men and women who appear to be the victims of some sort of homicide, most likely a human sacrifice. There have even been rumors of archaeologists uncovering the remains of giants who measured taller than 10 feet. 8. Tomb of Qin Shi Huang. Imagine bringing an entire army with you to the afterlife. The Terracotta Army is certainly a mystery of the ancient world. Over 8,000 clay soldiers, 130 chariots, and 520 horses were discovered in 1974 in the Shanxi province, and the first statues were found by a farmer. Each soldier is designed to be unique from the other one, which took decades to construct for Emperor Qin Shi Huang. His tomb remains unopened, and some believe they are rigged with deadly booby traps. The face of each soldier were made to be different and unique. Many of these figurines held actual weapons like spears, swords, and crossbows, with the sole purpose of protecting the emperor during the afterlife. It must have been a remarkable sight to behold as soon as it was completed sometime during 2010 BC. 7. Kasuba Tombs. The Kasuba Tombs, located in Uganda, is the burial site for the kings and queens of Buganda, and was an important historical site in Africa until it was set ablaze by Vandals. Buganda attempted their best to remain independent from colonialism by the British, but ultimately failed. A few of the major buildings here were almost completely destroyed due to arson, and the president of Uganda vowed that he would restore it, with the help of Japan. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the original buildings were described as being some of the most remarkable using purely vegetal materials in the entire region of sub-Saharan Africa. In any case, it contains the tombs of 4 Buganda kings, whose remains are in a disclosed location. Some people can still enter the tombs and pay homage to the royal family. 6. Tevye Discovery. Situated in northwestern France in the region of Brittany, is one of the most important archaeological sites in the world due to its history during the Mesolithic period. The island of Tevye looks beautiful from the outside, but it's home to some pretty creepy discoveries from the past. Some of the discoveries on this island date back to 6,700 years ago. The most notable discovery here was a couple of women who were victims of homicide and buried under a shelter of deer antlers. Their bodies were found covered in jewelry made from seashells. What's also interesting during this period of time was that it was actually possible for people from France to walk across the English Channel, which is where some of the artifacts originate. The women show evidence of blunt force trauma to the head, and one had a flint arrowhead between her eyes. It appears to be neither a hunting accident nor from an act of ancient warfare. There's still much debate as to whether or not it was a sacrifice or for some other reason. History isn't always pretty, folks, but important to learn nonetheless. 5. Amenhotep's tomb. American archaeologists were able to come across two stunning ancient Egyptian tombs rather recently in 2015. Believed to be the old tombs of Amenhotep and his wife Sa-mut, this is a big find for Egyptology. These were found in the ancient city of Luxor in southern Egypt, not to be confused with the Luxor in Las Vegas, Nevada. This dates back to the 18th dynasty, which is the most well-known dynasty during Egypt's thriving New Kingdom, which stretched from northern Sudan to Israel. Here in this photo, you see some of the wonderful murals that ancient Egyptian tombs are celebrated for. Both tombs featured wonderful works of art. However, it was clear that it was ransacked and looted at some times. Some lucky criminal was able to snag the valuable sarcophagi located in these tombs. And also, the bejeweled mummy is completely gone. It's most likely this was done during ancient times. Despite the looting, the tomb remains in excellent condition. 4. Silustani tombs. Some notable tombs in South America come from the Incan civilizations, and one of their more notable burial grounds are found near the shores of Lake Umayo in the Andes Mountains. It's a very scenic place where many of us would spend good money to rest for eternity. Here, you'll find above-ground tombs, many of which have been damaged from dynamite used by grave robbers. Inside the tombs were groups of people, not just one person, and they likely belonged to one family at a time. The arid and dry climate of the Andes Mountains helped preserve the bodies, which managed to survive for centuries. The massive megalithic stone towers were made from basalt, and no one knows exactly where it was quarried from. The Incas certainly didn't have the kind of technology to construct such towers, and it's believed that the towers were there first, and then people got buried there. It likely came from the same civilization that was responsible for constructing Pumapunka in Bolivia. 3. Kushite necropolis. This 2,000-year-old underground city of the dead was discovered in Sudan near the Nile River, and it's here where they came across a few startling discoveries. The Kingdom of Kush flourished during its time and controlled a vast territory of Africa. They built hundreds of remarkable pyramids, but in this case, all the monuments are underground. This culture shared a few similarities with the ancient Egyptians, as you can see from this decorated box that was uncovered at the site. Archaeologists believe the large eye here is used as decoration, but also to protect against evil spirits. This silver ring was also found at this remarkable site and depicts the ancient Egyptian deity Amun, who in this culture was depicted with a ram's head. They also came across this skeleton who is believed to have been an archer since his tomb was found with plenty of arrowheads. 2. Viking longboat tomb. A Viking warlord was buried in his boat 1,000 years ago and was found fully maintained in the United Kingdom. With him were his weapons of war, like his sword and axe head. Judging by the large amount of treasure found in his tomb, archaeologists firmly believe he was a successful Viking raider who successfully looted British monasteries. Here in this photo, we see a sketch of how the Viking burial might have looked after the warrior had finally passed away. The fact that he was buried like this all the way in England shows how powerful the Vikings were at this time and the influence they had in this land. Here we see Dr. Oliver Harris examining the sword in the original site of the tomb. One of the more fascinating finds was this tooth they came across. The boat he was buried in had decayed, and the only thing left was the 200 metal rivets that kept it in place. 1. Lord of Seba. The Lord of Seba was the name given to one of the first Moche mummies discovered in Peru in 1987 by local amateur archaeologists, or grave robbers you could say. It was rather mysterious that the main person who discovered the tomb also died not too long after, thanks to the local police finding out about the discovery. Walter Alva is credited for the discovery despite the grave robbers holding firm to their claims. The Moche people were a group of natives who inhabited the coast of Peru from about 100 AD to 700 AD. The tomb was found at Huaca Rajada near the town of Seba, about 20 miles from the Pacific coastline. With all the gold found at this tomb, it was essentially a miracle that the Spanish hadn't been able to find it and plunder it as they often did. A scientific analysis showed that Lord Sepan was about 5 foot 4 inches tall, or 1.63 meters in height. It's been called the greatest discovery in the Americas within the past few decades. 6 other people were buried along with him, most likely sacrificed in order to accompany him to the afterlife. You can visit the artifacts now at the Royal Tombs of Seba Museum.